Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day today. My name is Nilay Patel and I am the owner, designer, and educator of SilverSilk and more. And my objective for my business is to bring you guys education, tutorials, all good things SilverSilk, let you guys know about the fantastic product that I carry, that I'm 100%, 200%, 300% behind it. It's just an amazing, unique type of jewelry chain that doesn't exist anywhere else besides, well, SilverSilk. And I love using it. I love innovating with it. And I love bringing you guys ideas. My objective is all of those wonderful things. My challenge for SilverSilk is to make sure that the projects stay fresh, innovative, and creative, and really get you motivated, empowered, and just open up new possibilities that maybe weren't there for you before. So I enjoy all of those things. I love the interactivity and connection with you guys, and I'm always excited to see you here. I can see a ton of people already joining in. Sarah Ayler, hello. I'm so excited about our chat later on with Jill. We planned a happy hour virtually, and we had to move a couple dates around, but to connect and to keep in touch with my industry friends, it's amazing. It's like my family outside of my family. This just, the family keeps growing. Hey Sherry, Patty, I saw quite a few people join in. I've got a few new announcements to make, which is always a wonderful thing. First of all, the Jesse James Beads camp, summer camp, bead camp. I've never actually been to a summer camp before. I was talking to Sarah James about this, in fact, and I was so sad about it when she asked me, which I shouldn't have been sad, but yeah, I've never went to summer camp before, and I've never been on a bead cruise either, which was, I think, something that I would have loved to do. So to have it happen virtually and to be part of that giant classroom that will be around 200 people, it's going to be a pretty phenomenal event. Thank you, Sarah James, for including SilverSilk in that. I see that you popped on not too long ago. And when I pan the camera down, I'll give some more information of where you can grab it. But I think the kits are 80% sold out, which is amazing and incredible. And they're packed full of stuff. Of course, SilverSilk is going to be in there. I've got a fun chain picked out, as well as a really cool custom-made bail that I actually put together myself. So I love all of it. I hope you guys will join. The classes and the seats are selling out, the kits. So if you want to grab that, go to www.jessejamesbeads.com, and on there you'll see a banner that says Summer Camp, and you'll find me there. So I don't have to wear shoes. I don't have to wear any crazy mosquito spray or anything. It's all gonna happen virtually. We're gonna have a camp together, 9 classes, which is incredible. All professional industry leading professors and teachers, so this will be really, really fun. What else was I gonna say? Oh, so I had a really great conversation today, in fact, with Laura from Wubbers, and I feel like now is the time, because I'm always looking to collaborate, partner up with, and just grow SilverSilk. But Wubbers, I've always loved their pliers. They've had such a huge assortment of different types of pliers, hammers, anything you could imagine, and this was gonna be a good fit for SilverSilk. So we are slowly trying to figure out ways that we're going to collaborate. You'll see a lot more Wubbers pliers down the road as I transition into that, and a lot more consistency in my pliers, because it drives me nuts that I have mix-match pliers, actually. But I'm going to have something a lot more cohesive and a lot more easier for you guys to find that want to make high-quality, very professional looking jewelry pieces. So I'm excited to continue that trend with collaborations. I'm excited to have Wubbers on board. Laura from Wubbers is also equally excited and just thinking of all these ideas that we can do together. Okay, before I pan the camera down, I'm going to show you last week's project, which was this gorgeous pendant, and we put it together with SilverSilk. This is a custom-made SilverSilk that I did for my kit Amazon Rainforest, which is completely sold out. I'm so sorry for you guys that couldn't pick up an extra kit because it came with all these wonderful materials. But a few of these things still exist, so do not worry. If you go to www.silversilkonline.com, you can actually grab the pendant set and a trio, which looks like this, of the silver silk. If you want to try and replicate this, you can grab those items and then check out my video tutorial as well in the blog section of my website. It has all of the information on how to make it, and I did use patina paints from Vintaj. As you can see here, it kind of replicated some faux oxidized metals, and it was a lot of fun to make. And of course, I love the paints, so I'm probably gonna paint again today, which I'm excited about, I can't lie. And do a little bit of hammering, because I wanted to get back into that, and I've just got stuff all over my table, so I'm just gonna wing it. It's gonna be fun. All right, I'm gonna pan the camera down. Hi, Joy, hi, Yolanda. Suzanne is here. So, I'm glad that you could catch my video live for this time, because I know sometimes the time conflicts don't work out always. So, James says I'm glamping all the way. I know, I love a good glamping trip. The wonders that air conditioning can do for the soul, as well as just nature in general. It's like the best of both worlds, what can I say? Okay, I had opened up the kit last week, so if you want to see what all was included in my rainforest, Amazon rainforest kit, please check out the video from last week on my blog on my website, www.silversilkonline.com. I had started on painting some other things, so I'm going to finish up this lovely little lizard or gecko, or really, I guess if you paint it, it can turn into anything. But I did want to do some other techniques besides just painting and incorporate into my jewelry pieces. So I'm dying to use these little guys here. These are my, I guess they're leopard. Are they leopard or cheetah? It's hard to tell which animal, but I guess, again, if you paint it, you can make it your own. But they're beautiful charms. They're just really cute. So I want to use those today. I was going to make some earrings out of it. Of course, I've got my snakes here. I lost the other one. It's somewhere in my pile of stuff, but I really love this guy. So I thought I could incorporate this snake as well into a earring, maybe. It'll be a longer, maybe shoulder duster type of earring. And I don't know why I have this out. Actually, I have this from a few weeks ago. The combination of these colors has just been sitting with me in the most unique and best way ever. I'm a cool color guy, and I wanted to ask you guys, like, what do you think of this combination, especially given the rainforest kit? It's very, like, I don't know, it just gives me, like, a good vibe, I think, that palette. So I wanted to ask you guys about it. What else do I have? I have some butterfly charms that I thought I could try painting as well. And some of the other things included in my rainforest theme were these triple strand crystallized end caps, which I still have quite a few of if you're interested in grabbing those, but I just love this blue color that's on it. And it is a triple strand end cap, so we can stick 3 strands of it in there to either make some sort of a bracelet if you wanted to do both of those, or it could be a really great little tassel if you added 3 shorter strands of it together in that format. So there's a lot of possibilities with this. Lots. The other thing I had in mind was a bracelet design other than just earrings, which is what I wanted to make. And I'm going to use my double strand end caps to do that. These were also included in the kit. I know many of you that did pick up the kit probably still have these, so we can use those tonight. Okay, so we have all this great stuff. I've got 3 really cool colors of silver silk, and for those of you that are not familiar with what it is a knitted wire jewelry chain. It is knitted on a machine, and it's extremely supple. It's extremely just, it's a unique, exclusive product, you guys. Like, not everyone carries this at all. I know Jesse James Beads and Softflex Wire are extremely supportive of my company and the product, and are 1000% behind it. And it's something that I now make myself as I weave away. Like, let's just put an analogy to it, you guys. Like, I'm like the Rumpelstiltskin of silver silk, because if you think about it, I'm turning wire, which is the size of human hair, into silk, essentially. So yeah, I am weaving away and laughing maniacally all to myself at night, and making this beautiful chain that is super soft and super supple, and really just an innovative, fun product. So I encourage you guys to check it out. Again, you can grab it on the website if you want to, which is posted in this video. What else? And of course, the custom findings that come with it. And I've got some of these great beads to work with that came as like a mini gemstone mix that I put together. And you got these findings and stuff. So the findings themselves are very special. They have a little notch inside of it, or a little groove that sort of clasps right over the ball chain that's inside of my silver silk. So you don't need any glue or special tools to crimp this. You just press it shut and it's good to go. Really cool, really easy to do. So we have all these fun techniques, and it's like, what do we do first? Well, I wanted to go ahead and hammer away. Now, you guys, this is so cute. Isn't this cute? I love this. It's a miniature anvil, and I don't know if Softflex company still carries this or not. Maybe Sarah can chime in or post a link, and if they don't, then I consider myself extremely lucky, because I feel like this is truly like a one-of-a-kind thing to have. It's just a great miniature decoration, if that's how you want to view it as, but it's also a tool, as you can see that I've hammered quite a few things on it already. But the hammer is extremely handy to have, and I just love it to pieces. So I'm going to use that, and I have my fringe that came with my Vintaj pendant set, and I wanted to replicate some of the same texture that's on it. And it's been a while since I've hammered, so I might not be so good at it, but I'm going to try and do that. And I apologize if there's any noise. There really shouldn't be, because I'm on a headphone set. But there's different kind of hammers, of course, that will give you different types of textures. This is just a ball peen hammer that has a round head on one end, and it's sort of a domed. No, actually, this one's flat. Sometimes they have like a little domed head on the other end, and that kind of helps to taper some of the hammer work. In this case, you would get a very chiseled edge if you hit it directly onto your surface. And so I'm going to actually use the ball peen, the ball part of my hammer. But I wanted to take you through another type of hammer that I use, which is this one right here. And I got this I think I got it from Halstead a long time ago, but I love that it has this really great edge to it, especially because if I'm trying to create some really dramatic textures, this is a great way to do that. Again, I will be collaborating with Wubbers moving forward, and so they have a great collection of different hammers that I'm looking forward to testing out and banging away at my table. Oh! I also have a work hardening hammer with which is just a nylon head on either side. And this is great because if I just want to go in with some craft wire, I can do that and work harden on my anvil without having to worry about any marks or abrasions done to my metals. So that's something to keep in mind. I've got these 3 hammers. I know some of you collect such materials and tools, a lot of it, and so you probably have a lot more knowledge than I do about it, but that's my basic set. So here I am. I'm gonna just start to, again, if I'm super loud, I apologize. So I'm gonna just lift it up and show you what I did. Look at that. Now, again, I'm trying to replicate this. So you could see that it's kind of actually getting there, just in a smaller, more condensed format, which is okay. In this case, I actually don't want to put it with the pendant. If you remember from last week's video, let me grab that design. You could have done it to this and painted over it to give yourself even more texture and styling than what I had it, because I just did it flat, as you can see. But the hammering does add quite a bit of something extra to it. So I'm actually going to continue to hammer this. I'm going to use this for an earring component that I have in mind. I have to speak in between the hammering. I actually don't have any animals at home, by the way, so nothing that I know of is being startled right now. Look at that. Pretty cool and very easy to do. I remember Joy messaging in one of my videos earlier, and she said that she does not really care too much for the patina paints, but she loves the metals. And for those of you who do agree with Joy and just love the metals for themselves, this is a great technique that you can do. You can, of course, do the other side if you wanted to. The problem that is with hammering the other side is that you're inevitably going to flatten every bit of texture that you did on the front side. So I would encourage you thinking about your component with a front side and a back side. If you start to hammer at this, just think of all the dents that you put on the front side that will start to flatten away. So I wouldn't hammer personally on the second side of this. I would just focus on the one side and really try and get that to where you like that texture. So I've got this beautiful little hammered piece. I'm not gonna actually, well, you know what? I make the rules up. It's my video, right? I'm going to color it. And I wanna just use gold today. I'm going to use Victorian Gold. It's a patina paint for all metal, which is perfect for their natural brass. And this is just a small tube that I have. I used it in last week's video, and I love the effect. There we go. So I'm just going to shake it up. It's got a little ball or something in there that helps to kind of not separate, I guess, more combine the paint and the oil together. But I do have an official tray today, which I'm happy about because I didn't have one last week. I had to sort of wing it since it was in the other room, but I'm just going to spread that out in one corner. And I'm also going to show you that I have a cosmetic sponge this time around, something that I didn't have again in last week's video. Oh, you guys. Okay. Do you remember that I tried to use this tool and I was just like, why isn't it hole punching? I give up on life. Well, it's because I'm dumb. I was a complete dum-dum and I did not realize that there is an extra screw here that actually prevents me from going all the way down. So really the error was not in the tool, it was in the user. Dun dun. So, I had to kind of really analyze a tool and think like, why isn't this working? But then I really got it to work afterwards, and it's a perfectly fine hole punch for metal. It's just I didn't use it correctly because sometimes I'm a dum-dum. Okay, so I am going to just dab on a little bit of paint on my cosmetic sponge. And I'm going to start to dab some around, but as you can see, that's pretty heavy. So I'm going to use the blunt end of my cosmetic sponge to lift some of that off and to disperse it a little bit more. So it gives just a nice sheen to this. It really does brighten it up quite a bit. So I'm just going to be really minimal about this and just make sure that I use the sponge pretty generously here. So I like that. It just shines it up so much more. Gives it a nice sheen. It dries fairly quickly, actually, on the metal. And then you can go back and seal it, which I will after the video, with some glaze. It's a metal sealer and patina extender. And just gives nice longevity to your patina paint. If you messed up or feel that this is not a color that you wanted to add to your design, to your metal piece, you can use any sort of rubbing alcohol and, you know, apply it to your sponge and just start to rub it off, and you will be back at square one, ready to paint again. So just something to keep in mind as you're working on your design and you feel that you've maybe had an error or didn't want to, you know, paint something specifically that way. So it's good for experimenting, I think. I'm also going to go back and just dab a little bit of color on this guy. Give him some cheekbone, right? My cosmetics. I have way too much fun with this, you guys. But look at that. So if I wanted to make a cheetah, I can instantly add some orange to this. And because the metal color is lighter than the natural brass, it's going to give off a more brighter coppery tone. And of course I can lift off and kind of disperse with the blunt end of my sponge here and just continue to work with it. So I can really transform the color of that very instantly. Yes, Wanda says contouring. You gotta contour your animal. You gotta contour your cheetah or your leopard or whatever you're working with. Now that does bring up a good thing. If you're making a panther, like think about, they have God, what was that color called? There's like a black moon color or something. I'll have to look back. Patina paint that you can get from Vintaj, and that will create a nice dark colored leopard if that's what you're wanting. So really, this is quite a versatile charm. I didn't even really think about it till I, you know, was starting to paint this. There we go. So I love how this looks. It looks a little bit more gold on camera. However, on my table and work surface, it's definitely got more of an orange tone to it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm getting patina paint all over my hands, but this excites me because I am painting and enjoying myself. And if I'm having this much fun, I know you guys can with all of these different paints and stuff. It really just opens up quite a bit of imagination and creativity, I think, to really customizing your design and really just having fun with the kit components. I mean, you could do this to anything. I know Jesse James Beads has a lot of different types of beads that you could probably go back and just add a little bit of tint of patina paint or really transform it into something else just for fun. It doesn't have to be for any purpose or mission or for sale. This is about you guys, you know? This is about you taking your time and energy and enjoying something that you just haven't done before. All comes from experimenting. Fun is what it's all about, says my friend M. M, I have missed you. And I feel like you pop onto these videos and I always forget to say hi. So I'm saying a big hi and of course a giant hug to you. I love all of you out there. You guys are so much fun to hang out with. Okay, there we go. My 2 cheetahs are done. So I'm going to move my paints to the side. I want to go ahead and assemble my earring. And I think what I wanted to do was grab this River Capture Chain. Now this is available on the site, www.silversilkonline.com. And I don't know, I think it's going to be a little bit of a fun mix here. Now I could go with the green because of the gold. So I don't know. Now I'm trying to think, I'm like, you know, flipping back and forth. Like, will the snake look better on the river? Or will a cheetah? I don't really know. So many different options. But you know what? I'm gonna go for contrast, you guys. So, because if everything blends together, nothing sticks out. So I'm gonna go with the River Capture Chain. And I have seen this sort of knot technique time and time again, and I just feel that I've seen it, but I've not really done it. So I'm gonna try it for you. But I'm just gonna knot my silver silk as such, and I'm gonna flip it around, and what's cool is you get this really great little like airing component almost that happens. And I'm wondering, in fact, if I knot it one more. Ooh. I think that was it. I had to knot it 3 times. So you go through it once and then another time, kind of like you would a surgeon's knot, I think, is the proper term for it. And you pull it all together and you get this really great little component that kind of looks like that. But I'm wondering if we do that for this earring, it might be a nice way to dangle some of these items or these charms from it. So let me undo that and give you guys a specific measurement. So I probably took about that much. So let me grab my handy dandy little ruler. And we'll probably want to cut about 5 inches. Let's start with 5. If we need to trim down, we can always do that. Not a big deal. It's hard to add on, but you can't always trim off. So let's see. I had my cutters somewhere, and I probably walked off with them somewhere. Of course, I probably did. I think I left them in the other room, and I don't have any on my table, so let me go grab those real quick. Sorry about that. I've got stuff all over my house, like any crafter or beater would do. And, you know, you never know where you're going to find stuff when you least expect it over your house. So, here we go. 5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. And now I can go back to creating that fabulous little knot that I did. So let's do that. Looks like 5 inches is going to be the perfect amount to create this great little component. And I'll gather up those ends, kind of pinch them together. On my finding, certainly they'll probably fit in. I might have to open it up just a little bit more. And so I'm going to grab a pair of really thin tapered chain nose pliers and go ahead and open up my finding a little bit more. There we go. I just squeezed out on my pliers instead of course, squeezing in. And sometimes that just helps to open up the finding a little bit more and makes it easier to slip in all of your knitted wire pretty easily, just like that. So I'm gonna actually grab a pair of of nylon jaw pliers and squeeze. Squeeze like you've never squeezed before. And you can go really hard down on these because look, it is squeezing, but it's not scratching my SilverSilk double strand end cap at all. And now I've got this great little finding, this great little component. So I can kind of stretch this out a little bit, get it adjusted to where I like it. That's cute. It looks kind of like a little star, which I'm all for. So now I can go back and figure out a cool way to attach all this together. I was kind of thinking that if I layered this, it might be nice to have that extra little dangle. And can you guys see that? I really love how this stacks together. So now it's just a matter of figuring out a way to make that work. So, which brings me to my next topic real quick. I have to zoom out for a second because I got to show this to you guys. I did a wire overhaul. I had a lot of mixed match wires that I was not happy about. I didn't have a way to show it off in a video very concisely, but look at this. Now, I went crazy with Softflex wire, craft wire. I have a lot of their beading wire, but I got the ultimate collection of cohesive craft wire from Softflex. And now in my videos, I can proudly say that all of my different colors that I use in the videos coordinate with my findings and they coordinate with the projects that I'm trying to make. And I will be only using 2 sizes moving forward. You will see a 20 gauge and you will also see, you will as well see a 26 gauge. So for your beading adventures with SilverSilk and more, these are the 2 sizes that I will be permanently using for all of my demos. So if you're ever in wonder of what gauge am I using or what type of wire, it is either going to be 20 gauge or 26. that is really all I have used. I know for each designer that's, you know, making different types of projects, it's going to be their preference of which they use. Sometimes 22 will be more sufficient for their usage, and sometimes not. But I feel like with my experience and the type of projects that I do, and, you know, looking in the past for some of the stuff that I did do and would like to redo, it seems like the 20 gauge just seems to be more of a no-brainer for me personally. But again, up to your preference. I prefer those two sizes. Ooh, okay. Let's see if I can get this back on here. To stack this, I'm going to actually make jump rings for you. I just thought that that would be a really cool add-on to this video as well. And so what I'm going to do is cut some 20 gauge vintage bronze soft flex craft wire. I'm going to grab my mandrel, and this is specifically for jump rings. Unfortunately, the flaw with this particular tool is that they don't have any sizes listed on what these make. I'm thinking that this is 6mm and it kind of, you know, scales up from there. But the best I can do is just to take, you know, a measurement on my ruler to show you guys what it is. But for this, I think I'm going to need a pretty good sized jump ring. And so I'm going to, you know, fall back maybe down towards this one and make some jump rings in this size. I'll hold it up to my ruler to show you what size it makes. But I think that's going to be a pretty good sufficient size to kind of bring all this together, if you will. So I'm just going to do a few wraps with this. You want to coil it as tight as possible just to, you know, get it nice and concise there. Really, I just need two, so I made a few extras, but that's all right. I'm just going to grab a pair of cutters and just take them all into my plier and just give it a nice snip. So this size is, looks like close to 10mm. Yes, or 1 centimeter. And I think that'll be pretty sufficient for this earring. As you can see, that's a perfect fit. So I got lucky. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop those guys in. And I'm gonna make sure that I pay close attention to that seam and make sure that it does touch as closely as I can to make it super certain that it's not gonna fall through. And there we go. That's my earring. So I'm gonna actually find a hook here. If I can. You know what? I've got some gold earring hooks. I think I ran out of the other kind. My normal antique bronze, antique gold color. But that's okay. We can improv here and attach it to this. Oops, backwards. Perfect. There we go. Which is kind of nice because it hits on the gold that I painted my little animal, my little cheetah with. And then I've got the gold that continues up here. So it's a really good color combination. And it has a little, like, can you hear that sound? I don't know if you can. But when you move around, it gives a nice little jingle, which was completely unintentional, but definitely welcomed. So let me go and make the other earring just because I'm having a lot of fun with this. So I am, again, measuring 5 inches. That looks really good. I'm going to triple knot. 1, 2, 3. 3 times to make my shape here. I'm going to then insert both of my ends into my crimp, my double strand end cap. Let me grab my pliers here. My thin chain nose pliers is what I call them. Open it up as much as I can and go ahead and insert it in as best as I can there. Once I know everything is inside, I can go back in and crimp it, with my nylon jaw pliers. There we go. If you have a little piece of wire sticking out, which I do right there, you can go back in and just trim it off. No big deal. There we go. Ugh, I love how quickly these came together, and it's got a lot of design to it without having to try too hard. And I think for me, those type of designs tend to be the most effective and beautiful when it just feels effortless and well thought out. Most of my pieces don't end up that way, but I'm thankful that one or two do. Here we go. Just stick that guy in. And then, ooh, I didn't get to hammer out a second piece. So let me do that. Bring it back up here. And let me grab another fringe. And again, if you want to grab these things, you can grab them from the website, silversilkonline.com. Where's my hammer? Okay, here we go. I'm so sorry if this is loud. Softflex company working on a hammered project, and they were apologizing that it was super loud. But on the receiving end of that, I didn't actually hear that much hammering in my audio. So they were certainly hammering away, but the noise wasn't as loud as they probably thought it was. Okay. So, ooh, Mary said just order the Amazon kit. Yay! If you guys, I didn't get to do this whole spiel about the giveaway. When you do receive the kit, make sure you post to the SilverSilk Silkies Facebook group page before August 10th. That's coming up next week, y'all. I hope you've been getting the kits in the mail. Let me know if you have via messaging or even just a shout out on this feed that since we're live, that you've been receiving the kits. Don't forget to hashtag Amazon Rainforest in your post. Each post counts as an entry, and I'm going to pick a winner and let that winner know on August 11th during our live Tuesday tutorial. So you can certainly make your own design with some of your own pieces and beads and stuff using the Amazon Rainforest kit materials, but do post a picture and do hashtag it Amazon Rainforest, and that counts as an entry. And I like to give away stuff, you guys. For those of you who know me, know that I love to give away free stuff, and I get in trouble sometimes because, of course, I've got people who help manage the business of like, why are you giving away so much stuff? And for me, it's about creativity and connectivity, and there's definitely a business side to things, but I also want to fulfill people's creative souls because that's what people did for me in the beginning, and it's my way to pay it forward. So I like to give away pretty good prizes. Okay, still dabbing. This takes zero effort to do. Dries very instantly. I love how much sheen that just adds to this without having to try too hard. And it was fun last week to even combine the different paints together to make my design. So, oof, there we are. You could even go through and paint like I did last week, the Finding, but I kind of love this antique bronze or antique gold color with the brighter gold colors. So there's a nice like mixture of different tones and textures that's happening to make this earring really just pop in a way that brings my own creativity to it, I think. So I'm just gonna grab my earring Finding and go ahead and string that right on. So let's see if I could do this. I'm always confused on which way this was supposed to go because I want the SilverSilk logo to face up. There we go. So when you wear this, it's gonna face forward. For both of these earrings, whoops. And I love that. I think that this is such a fun, jingly type of earring and just another demonstration of a style that you can make with the components in the mystery kit. So, and stay tuned for the next one because I've already got the theme picked out. I got the materials picked out. They're almost already all put together, so I'll have a bigger announcement, hopefully in a couple weeks, maybe less, of the next kit that comes out. And they sell fast. I mean, I was not anticipating a 2-day sellout for what I had, and I had quite a few units of them, but they were gone. I mean, super popular. And because I'm able to pack more silver silk in it this time around, I mean, moving forward especially, I think it just adds a lot more value to the kit itself. So it's pretty exciting. All right, what are we gonna make next? Well, I thought I would revisit a video that I did that we got to make a specific type of knot called the Josephine knot. Something that I really loved is how intricate that knot was. It was a little bit confusing to make, so I'm gonna try and do my best in this video to demonstrate it. But you know what? I have all these loose beads and stuff, and I thought I would try and connect them together and use this knot that I'm about to make with those beads and try and make it a bracelet. So what I'm gonna do is crisscross my wires over just like that. I'm gonna take my other green wire, or you know what? Let's kind of mix things up a little bit. I think I don't want to use the blue because I used that already. I want to use these two colors. My golden lime is what I call this. This was exclusive to the kit and the trio pack that's available online. And I want to use this vintage bronze color. And I think that's gonna make a really beautiful knot together. So the idea for this, let's see if I can do it, is you go above, over, and then under that second one. And then you go let's see. I'm probably already messing up. Over and then under? Yep, of course. Okay, so this is gonna take a little bit of, well, maybe. Oh no, I got it right. Okay, just kidding, you guys. It always worries me that maybe I have it wrong. And with these type of specialty knots, it's kind of hard to tell, but that actually looks kind of right to me. And I'd be happy to show you guys again if I need to, but I like the way that that looks. But I thought that would be a really cool component. Obviously, I've got two different sized wires here. This actually uses a thinner ball chain that, and this was sort of a test type of knitted wire to begin with before I moved up in the ball chain size. So there might be a little bit of a difference there. And if that bothers you, you can, of course, go back to the blue color. So let's just try it with that and see if we like that better. So I'm gonna go ahead and create my little fish shape with the loop, with the wire on top when I'm making that loop. And then I want to take my second knitted wire. I'll go around, or on top of the loop itself, take my top knitted wire, slip this under it, and then I'll go over, and then I'll pick up the loop, go underneath it, and then you could string it up. And then I will want to go over the capture chain that I just put down, and then back underneath the loop. And then when you press it together, you will get your fabulous little knot. Isn't that just beautiful? The Josephine knot. I don't know. I kind of love this, so I'm just gonna go with it. And I'm gonna grab another pair of double strand end caps to work with this. But I'm gonna tighten these up. It's funny how much I waffle back and forth on, well, even during a video, because I'm like, does this look better? Does this look better? Does this look better? So yeah, you never know. Ah, Ginger, I didn't know you tuned in. So let me grab a pair of double strand end cap. Ginger, you're my spirit animal. Like, I just love your vivaciousness and energy and creativity and just personality. You just seem to be like You want to be you are the person that I want to be when I grow up. But something tells me that you haven't fully grown up, so I really appreciate that about you. You just have such a beautiful spirit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually trim this off. I might use this bronze chain for a technique later on, because we still have one more video after this. After this Tuesday Toots, we'll do another Tuesday Toots to wrap up our bead tour of the Amazons. And I'm sure I can use it then. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and gather up those ends. Same concept here. Whenever you use your double strand end cap, you'll want to open it up just ever so slightly. Just like that. There we go. And my end caps have a brass base, so they're gonna be a little bit more tough to open up, but they're gonna be a lot more high quality findings because of the type of metal that it's made with. Pewter tends to be super soft, and the type of brass that Vintaj is, it's quite a bit softer as well. And so these particular findings, because they have the coating of the metal on top of a brass base, just makes them a little bit harder. That way, whenever you squeeze it down and you crimp, you really know that you have crimped. Okay, same thing on here. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball measure about maybe right there and cut these things off. So what I'm making is a component for this, for my design. M says, Knoxville grows them wild. If that's anything like the Midwest, M, then certainly, like, there's a bunch of wild people here too where I live, luckily, because I fit in with the weird and crazy. So I'm happy to hear that. Okay, sticking it into my finding and just giving it a good crimp. If your crimp slips off, no big deal. Just insert it back into the pliers and continue your crimping. So that looks really good. A great little component, I think, for a bracelet. You can kind of massage it out to make sure that it's going to work in a linear format here, which I think that looks really good. So now I can just start to design the rest of it together with my design here, or with my beads. So it's up to you what you want to connect and bring to it. But I'm going to see if I can use up some of my moss agate beads here, as well as my leopard jasper, which are these guys right here. Again, all inside of that gemstone mix. And for the next kit, I do also have another gemstone mix that I'm really excited about. The colors are very, very different from this mix. This bead does not want to stop rolling around there. What else do I have? I've got this. So ideally what we want to do is connect a bracelet that's roughly about 7 inches or so. And you also have to consider that there's going to be a clasp added onto this. My beads are not going to want to stay in place, but I think this is a general overall layout that I'm going for. So again, I'm going to tune back into my Vintaj, excuse me, I was using Vintaj materials, but my vintage bronze 20 gauge craft wire. I'm just going to get a little bit of that out to work with. I've got some scraps on my table, so I'm going to use some of those up as well. And for this project, for this bracelet, I bet you're probably only going to need probably about 1 foot, because all we're going to do is make a series of simple loops and connect it together. It's going to be very easy and very effortless and give a really good combination of colors here for our design. You could absolutely use gold if you wanted to. I think that fits in well with this palette. There we go. So I'm going to explain to you, I've made that simple loop without even telling you what I did, so I apologize. So I'm going to explain to you what I did to make that, but let me go ahead and string this on. To make your simple loop, especially on the other side of the bead, because on one end it's easy, but whenever you get to the other side, sometimes that can be a little tricky, and it can also be intimidating because you've got all this wire to work with. So what I like to do is measure out about a 1/2 inch. You can either take your ruler, or you can eyeball measure it, and it's going to be about that much. Move my ruler out of the way. About that much. I like to eyeball it at this point and work with it from there. So I trimmed it off, give myself a nice blunt end here, and I'm going to insert it into my round nose pliers, just like that. I want to make sure when I do insert it that the top of the wire, the very tip of that wire, is not sticking above where the flesh part of my round nose pliers is. It's just nice and it's in line and it's flush with my round nose pliers, as you can see when I hold it perpendicular. Then what I'll do is I'll start to just fold around. My wrist will want to stop there. It's a natural pose to do with your wrist. And you do not want to sort of continue to make this loop when it starts to feel awkward, because your loop will end up becoming awkward. So when I have it even at this stage, what I do is I lift off, I keep it in where my loop will hit the most wide part of my plier there. It won't go past this point. But now I can gently press back down. You don't want to be too hard about your press there. And then I can continue to fold it back around. And I will have made a very round loop very comfortably. I'm not making an awkward position because, again, if it feels awkward to you, it's going to look awkward. Now, you'll notice that I have a large gap of space, and that's what I do not want. So what I do is I eyeball what that measurement of that space is. It looks like to be about 4 millimeters, and I'm going to cut back on my loop about the same distance, just like that. You'll notice that it does cut off quite a bit of that loop, but that's all right, because what I'll do is I'll continue to make it. Again, I'll just reinsert it in my pliers, and it'll fall as far as that, width, and I'll just continue to fold around. As you can see, I was doing a lift and rotate action, and I'll have gotten pretty close to my bead, which to me, that looks really good. My shape is all there, and I want it to look nice, round, and symmetrical. And I'll just grab my regular chain nose pliers. These have a very tapered tip, and I will, what I like to call, break the neck, which it was a P-shaped loop before, but because I inserted it into my pliers and folded it toward me, it created a nice symmetrical look. I have a little bit of an open seam, so what I can do is go back and just press it ever so slightly, and it'll close it up. Very easy to do. I like to keep a little bit of a space between my bead. You can, of course, get as close as you want to the bead, but this isn't enough to bother me personally. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it a little bit quicker now on this next piece of wire. Same concept. I do what I call, again, a lift and twist option for my round nose making, or simple loop making. Ginger is asking who is a maker of my pliers. I really love them. Yes, I've gotten a ton of compliments on this particular set. The problem, which is why I'm also moving to my next sponsor, which is going to be Wubbers, in partnership with them. They also have a very nice tapered pair of round nose pliers. I got these as a gift from one of my students a long time ago. We're talking circa 2008 when I was just a youngin', and these were gifted to me by that student, and they just were a pair that I kept with me all this time. So unfortunately, I do not know where these came from. They are very cute, and I do love them, and they hold a very sentimental value for me. So regardless of any tool set moving forward, if I never show these on camera, I will always have them with me because a very special student and person gave it to me. So there's my spiel on that. That doesn't help answer your question, Ginger, so I'm so sorry. But I did give a very fun story about it. And probably dated myself. Okay, there we go. very easy. I recommend having a lot of craft wire on hand that you may not use, or an extra spool that you use for practice, but truly the more you do this, the better you get at it. That is the only old trick in the book. Practice makes perfect. Cool. Now, as you've noticed, when I'm making my chain, I have it offset. So while this loop is facing up front, the loop that is on the other side of the bead faces perpendicular to it. This just makes a nice even chain, and really it's a preference to each their own. You can of course have all flat facing loops, but in this case, I think because I've got an odd number of beads, it just makes sense to have, or actually it'll be an even number of beads, so excuse me on that. It just makes sense to have my loops offset as such. So I'm going to pick up my next smaller lava electroplated bead here. Hey Nancy from Annville, Pennsylvania. Good to have you on here. Thanks so much for joining in. And I appreciate you making the time tonight for Tuesday tutorials here on the SilverSilk and More Facebook page. And later YouTube. For those of you who don't know, I do have a YouTube channel dedicated to tutorials, and if you want to catch all of the previous tutorials that I've ever done, that's the place to do it. As well as my SilverSilk and More online blog. If you go to silversilkonline.com, on there is a playground of jewelry, making tutorials, products, everything. But the blog section has fresh content and the latest videos and tutorials from me on there. Really cool. Like, the simple loop process is very meditative, I feel like, and it just kind of brings me to a happy place where I can just do mindless work and focus on technique and really make these beads pop the way that I want. So I'm loving that. Look at that. This is a component, you guys, that I turned with SilverSilk, and now I'm just connecting beads together. So this component could also work for a necklace design if you wanted to go that route with it. And I would love to see some, beadwork or even some more SilverSilk draped off of it. Would be really pretty, I think. Okay, so I'm going to continue making my loops here on the other side with my moss agate and some of these other gemstones that I have. Leanne Carr, Heartbender, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Leanne is what I will say. Commented on this feed, on our live feed here, that I make it look so easy, but she's not so sure about her technique. And again, I think I would emphasize practice, and I think really it's hard to say. I feel like we've got an innate fear about trying something and just working towards it even. But the first step is to just try it and know that you're going to mess up. And it is okay. I make mistakes all the time. You wouldn't believe how many things I screw up and have to throw away or recycle because, I save my beads. Maybe the wire is wasted, but that's okay. It's just craft wire. We can get so much more of it. But I save my beads. I go back in, an hour later or the next day with a fresh set of eyes, with a fresh mind, and the idea that I can forgive myself for messing up and allow that to happen. And sometimes it doesn't, Sometimes I surprise myself and something great comes out of problem solving or technique or something. But I think you just kind of have to work towards that self-forgiveness and just be able to do it no matter what. I hope that helps. At least that's the way that I like to approach problems in all areas of my life. It doesn't have to be necessarily jewelry making, but it could be anything. My conversation with a friend, or a chore that I'm doing around the house, or some light electric work or something like. Well, but I really can't mess up electric work because that would be very problematic. But, some of these smaller things in our lives that we just have, and approaching it of like, hey, I'm human at the end of the day and I'm going to do the best that I can. It really does help. You have to psych yourself up to do it. There we go. And, of course, we have a ton of jewelry makers and other video experts here on social media that we can look to as inspiration. And even more, just sometimes, I can't explain something that maybe Sarah Ayler or Sarah Ellis can explain better, and I look to them to see how they did it, even still to today, because they're both design geniuses and come up with all sorts of ideas. And have a way of explaining it way better than I can. Sometimes I'm just short on words. Yes, Mimi says, and hello Mimi, I didn't get to say hi to you earlier, but I'm glad you tuned in because I love seeing your name pop in every week. You have to give yourself grace. Yes. See, she's got the words. Sarah Ellis is like just a design genius and just a great spirit to be around. A lot of positivity and kind words and full of energy, but again, human at the end of the day, which is a great thing to relate to and to be inspired by. Fabulous. I, of course, don't have a clasp with me on hand because that's a theme for all of my videos. I have all the beads, I've got all the wire, I've got all of my silver silk components, except for a clasp. Why do I never have a clasp on hand? But that's okay, I can always fasten it later. Look at this though, you guys. Like, if I just stuck a magnetic clasp on that, I will be so happy. And this is something that I think would work great for the boys too. If you think about using a different color palette and maybe focus in on some of these earthier tones, such as the vintage bronze, the solid vintage bronze wire here, and maybe some of the metallic coppers that combine together. I think that's something that I personally would wear. This is a little too loud for me, I will go ahead and say that. But I know some of you love the loud colors. Don't even lie to me, because I know you do. I want to finish painting my lizard, because I started on this guy and I didn't get to finish. And then the last thing I want to do is paint my butterflies. And show you actually another way that you could, instead of dabbing paint, maybe we do a focused area. So let's get to our lizard real quick while we're here. I am picking up moss, which is another patina paint from Vintaj. I'm going to shake it around, get it all nice and mixed up. Dab some out here. There we go. Okay, so I used a tissue paper last time to paint this, which was atrocious. So I'm going to use my cosmetic sponge, which is the way that I really think it should be done, because it's definitely more effective. I'm going to paint this guy green because he's a lizard. And I think this will make a super cute pendant for a necklace. Ooh, I could even use that vintage colored chain that I had just a second ago. That antique vintage bronze colored chain to hang this off of. So what's great about the Vintaj patina paints also is that you could layer it. And so last week I did color it, and This week I'm just coloring right over it, but what happens is it layers on top of itself and it starts to become more and more opaque as you color it. So I think that's a really cool idea and technique and attribute to these paints, is that they just stack well on top of each other, and you could really make a piece as translucent and milky in the colorway, or you could definitely make it as opaque and stand out, give that nice pop of color just by layering it on top. As you can see, that is extremely green. It could be a chameleon is what M says. That is such a good idea. I love that. You could even do like a little colored tail if you want, but I'm not gonna go that far. I kind of love my green little lizard there. So what I'm gonna do is actually figure out a good way to connect all of this to my chain here, because I have, or you know what, guys? We still have one more week. So what I'm gonna do is leave this as a teaser. My lizard is going to also continue to next week, and we're gonna do something with it and put it together in a necklace, or maybe paint over it more. But I put a base coat down of my patina paint here. And then I'm gonna do a necklace next week on that, because I like this idea of continuing to see what's gonna happen to it. But let's bring out a butterfly. Let me see if I can grab a butterfly here. I've got a couple on my table. There were different kinds of butterflies in your kits, certainly. And I had a specific butterfly in mind that I wanted to paint and show you guys. So I'm wondering if I still have it on here. And if I don't, I could definitely use a different one, which I guess it probably spilled out into another part of my tray. But that's all right. I can actually do it with this guy. But I wanted to paint this and show you that you don't have to dab paint all over it. To make it work, you could actually use a paintbrush. So, oh, M is saying please show the knot again. You mean for the bracelet? This guy right here? If you do, let me know, and I could definitely show that in an instant as I paint this. So I'll wait for your response, and let me go and dab some paint out here. In the meantime, I'm gonna make this butterfly colorful. I've got this amethyst color, and I'm wondering if I can squeeze this out. It might be, let me see if it's frozen. Ooh! Clearly I've not used these in a long time, so, and good thing I had a tray, right? I can't believe I did that. That's hilarious. I've got a lot of different colors here. I've got this other like garnet color. Let's see what mess I can make with this. Okay, M is wanting to learn that knot again. So let me see if I can squeeze this out. Oh, I hope I don't spray this on myself. Oh boy. This might not come out. I might have to have a little, oh wait. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna have to do is wait to open this guy back up, but that's a red color. Hey Jackie, thanks for joining in. We're actually painting with Vintaj patina paints. I've been requested to teach you guys how to make this knot, and so I'm gonna show you one more time before we get to our paint. Look what's happening. This is combining together and making this really beautiful lavender color. So you could definitely mix these together, these patina paints from Vintaj, and something magical will happen, even if you just spewed it all over your table like I just did. So I'm gonna let that sit for a second, and I'm gonna show you again how to make this knot real quick. That's on this bracelet. So I'm gonna start by making a fish shape. You'll wanna make sure that whenever you make your first loop, that your chain sits on top of your other end of your chain, so that the loop is should look like this. Then what I'm gonna do is grab my other chain. I'm gonna go over the two loops and just set it down just like that. This I'm going to pick up and weave underneath my chain there on the top left-hand side. And then I'm going to stack it right over on top of my bottom left side. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna position this to where it sits at a diagonal. I'm gonna go underneath the bottom left of my chain here, the loop. I'm gonna go underneath the loop. I'm going to go over the chain that I just started with. And then I'm going to go underneath the second part of my loop, or the top half, so that all of this is now interwoven together. So whenever I start to close it, it starts to become that knot. It helps to have the two contrasting colors to work with whenever you're doing this. That way you can really see what's happening. Whenever you use two of the same colors, it's a little bit confusing. So probably a good idea that we did use the two contrasting colors to make this knot. I hope that helps you create that knot whenever you give it a try. Now, all of my patina paints are at this point mixing together, so I better work quickly to get this done. Let's see if I can squeeze out a little bit more. There we go. What I'm thinking I want to do is grab my paintbrush, and I'm just going to dab a little bit on the corner here, and I'm just going to start to paint inside some of these veins. And you could give this a couple coats, or you could just do the one. But what we're going for is sort of this color blocking technique to where you just have two colors that bump against each other. And I think some of these ridges will help to replicate that. There we go. What you do want to have on hand is something to dab your brush with to get the color off, or to get it dry on your brush. Just dry enough to pick up another color. And then start to, lay that one down. I'm totally making this up as I go along. You can certainly use any colors that you wish. But I'm kind of liking this combination. Look at that. It's so instant and easy, and it dries so fast. I think in the center here, let's give it a little pop of green. Maybe it kind of bleeds up there. Super cute. I love that. So now I can pretty much replicate the same patterning on this side, starting with my cyan color here. And it's okay if a little bit extra bleeds out. That's just nature, and nothing is ever actually really symmetrical in real life, and that is perfectly okay. So let's see, this is down here. And of course, if that bothers you, you could just paint right over it without any problems. Joyce says, now I want to start painting something. Yes, I encourage it. It's fun. It's definitely very satisfying, instant gratification for sure. It's been a while since I've painted, in fact. I haven't taken out my Vintaj paints in quite some time prior to these videos myself, so I was happy to kind of get back into it. Looks like I just need a dollop of gold here, a little bit more. Oh, so pretty. So I wonder what that could be later on, but I think what I'm going to do is save this idea and design something with it for next week. And you know what I didn't get to use are my sparkly clasps. And there's quite a few components in the Amazon rainforest theme, so I encourage you guys to check it out, because look at all these different things that we got to make during this video. And the possibilities are truly endless. So I'm looking forward to next week's video, and it'll be our winner giveaway, so don't forget to post those designs as you make them onto our Silver Silk Silkies Facebook group page. You could still buy the components that were in the kit on the website, as I mentioned earlier, www.silversilkonline.com, and make some pieces out of those and just photograph them and include them in the Silkies Facebook group, and that'll count as an entry, of course. But I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial tonight. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you. You guys are always so much fun, and enjoy commenting and talking with you guys on that way. We always come up with something special to make, and inspirational, of course. So if you are catching the end part of this video, please check out where to follow my journey. Would be through YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com and search for Silver Silk and More, you'll definitely find me there. I am huge with Instagram. I'm always posting on there, as well as some of the finished products and projects that I'm making. So you'll want to go to Instagram, your Instagram app, and search for Silver Silk and More. And of course, we're always on Facebook. You'll want to go to the Silkies group and become a member there too, because we're always talking about something beady and fun and silver silky and all good things. It's a good vibes group. I enjoy being a part of it and helping to cultivate a really positive community there. So check all of those places out. You can grab these materials on www.silversilkonline.com. I was also using Softflex products as well, which you can grab from softflexcompany.com. Any of the beads, you can find these on jessejamesbeads.com. But other than that, I leave you guys with hopefully an inspired evening and motivated to create. And hopefully I will see you again next week during our Tuesday tutorials that I do every Tuesday at 5:30 Central Time in the evening. And you'll definitely be able to catch me here live on Facebook, babbling away about all things jewelry and beads and silver silk. But I love all of you, and thank you so much for your continued support, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. If you have any questions, you can send me an email at orders@silversilkonline.com. All right, have a fabulous evening, and I will catch you guys again soon. Bye.